Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Pete. And lately I've been doing a lot more videos about condos, condo investments, and how rental rates have completely nosedived, changing the landscape of the entire condo segment because of the pandemic specifically, of course. So I wanted to do something a little bit different for you guys here today, as I wanted to go all across the city and even a little bit outside of the city to show you just how devastating this has been on rental rates from the beginning of the year, pre-pandemic, to where we are today in October, post-pandemic. And some of these buildings I specifically chose because I have bought and sold in them, so I have experience, and some I still have clients where we're actively managing for them in different locations all across the city. So we're going to go downtown, midtown, uptown, and even all the way out to the west end in Etobicoke and Mississauga too. Just to be clear, my clients are not immune to what's going on out there as well, because this is obviously a catastrophic and once-in-a-lifetime event that is truly testing the resiliency of the Toronto real estate and condo market. But hey, we're all in this together, right? So we might as well learn something from it. So I hope you guys will enjoy this and we'll get something out of it. But before we start, I just want to ask you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on the notifications so we can keep you posted on what's happening in the real estate market here in the city. We would really appreciate it. Thanks very much. We'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, what's up? So we're back, and so we're gonna go across the city and look at all the different condo buildings in all these different areas of Toronto, and we're gonna try to assess how much the rent has dropped in these particular buildings. And what I'll do is I'll start all the way out in Mississauga, because as we know, there's a lot of condos out in Mississauga, and there's a lot of you out there who are probably watching this. But I've chosen this specific building here, 225 Webb Drive. For those of you who aren't familiar, that is close to Square One. The rent hasn't actually dropped too bad in this building. Early on in January, so we have a 1-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit renting for $2,100 in January, and then recently at the end of September, a similar unit went for $1,900. So basically in Mississauga, for this particular building, it's gone down about $200, which actually isn't too bad. And then next, as we get a little bit closer into the city, now we're heading into Etobicoke, and the building is 15 Viking Lane. Now I know this building because I've had clients in there where we've helped them buy, sell, and lease out units. And what we have here is early on in the year, at the end of January, we have a 1+ den with a locker and a parking spot going for $2,250, so $2,250 pre-pandemic. And then we got a similar unit with the same specs, locker, parking, 600 to 700 square feet range, 1+ den, going for $1,995, so just under $2,000, giving us a delta of $255. So a little bit worse than the unit over in Mississauga, but still not that bad. You have to consider a $200 to $300 drop in rental as fairly normal with what's been happening with the pandemic. Okay, so now we're gonna head over to North York in one of my favorite buildings, which is Gibson. And we've got a 1+ den here in the 700 to 800 square foot range, where this was at the early part of the pandemic. So we're in April, where it was renting for $2,400. Which has a parking and a locker. And then we've got a most recent one here in the first week of October, similar size, same specs, everything, and it went for $300 less to $2,100. So again, fairly normal drop. $300 on the rent is very acceptable given the circumstances we're in, and it's taking about somewhere between a month and a half to 2 months to rent out. So then now down we take the subway line down Yonge Street and we head to Midtown. We've got 30 Roehampton here, which we're actively managing a unit there for one of our clients. This is a 1-bedroom with a locker but no parking. And in early January, we've got a 1-bedroom going here for $2,050, so $2,050. And we've got a similar 1-bedroom unit here that rented out at the end of September, and it went for $1,775. So we're looking at a difference of $275. Still, a fairly substantial drop, but again, sort of within our normal range. But wait, it gets better. I mean, worse as we sort of get down into the core and downtown part of Toronto. And now we're on to 736 Spadina. For those of you who don't know, this is one of the few buildings that are really close to U of T. Like, it's pretty much in the heart of U of T, and you'll find that the entire building is filled with students or parents that have bought units for their kids so that they could be close to U of T. We've got a 1+ den unit here with parking and locker, renting for about $2,500. This is in the middle part of February, but then we've got a 1+10 here at the end of September that ended up going for $2,000. So in this case here, we saw a $500 drop, which makes sense. It's a big drop, but we know that there's not a lot of students that are actively on campus, and so there's no need for them to rent a place or to have their own space when they could just be staying at home with their parents or even back home in their original country. On the school theme, I thought I would look into what Ryerson was doing, right? We wanted to see how that might be affecting that particular market as well. So I looked into Massey Tower, which is literally directly across the street from the Eaton Center. And we've got a studio bachelor here in the second week of January going for $2,000, which was really at its peak in terms of renting out a bachelor for $2,000, because it's only 440 square feet, no locker, no parking, nothing, just bare bone. And then we've got a similar one that rented out just a few days ago actually. We've got a studio bachelor here that rented for $1,550. That's a pretty sharp drop for a smaller unit like that. So it went from $2,000 to $1,550. That's a $450 drop. Again, makes sense, especially if there's no students renting in the area. Everything is going virtual and online. There's just no need for the students to be near their schools anymore. And last but not least, this one here is one of my favorite condos. Actually, from an investment standpoint, this building did very well. And it's U Condos on Bay Street and Bloor, like pretty much Yorkville area. Investors have done incredibly well here over the years. Rental vacancies have typically been very low here as well because the demand is just so strong, particularly from international students. But right now, what we're seeing is, so in the middle of March, we had a 2-bedroom unit with locker and parking. It went for $3,750 for an 800 to 900 square foot unit, which is a lot of money, but that was sort of what the going rate was for this particular building at its height pre-pandemic. And then now what we can see is, in the middle of October, we have a similar unit. Actually, it's a better unit. It's in the lower penthouse. Same specs, parking, locker, 2 bedrooms, almost 900 square feet, and it rented for only $2,900. So that's a huge drop. That's $850 delta between very similar units over the last 8 months. So, guys, the rental market is just absolutely tanking. Obviously it depends on the building, it depends on the area. What we find is that when it's outside of the core of downtown, the drops aren't as dramatic. It probably has something to do with the amount of inventory downtown, and there's just a lack of demand, particularly for people having to work and go to the offices and people having to go to school. And so it has affected the entire city and the greater Toronto area from a rental perspective. Prices are coming down and they continue to go down, some in more dramatic ways than others. And what we can clearly see is that, buildings where the higher the prices, the bigger the drop is as well too. So I just thought I would highlight some cold hard numbers and facts for you guys just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. Obviously, we will continue to monitor the situation and find out what's going to happen on a monthly basis. But I thought that this would paint somewhat of a clearer picture for you, especially you investors out there, where I still think it's okay to sell your unit versus renting it out. I think for some of you landlords and investors out there, I think it might be better just to get out of the burning building as soon as possible, because it's actually slightly easier to sell your unit versus renting it out at the moment. Unless you can find someone to put in there, like a family member or a friend, or at least something like that, give them below market rate, at least just so you have someone sitting in the unit. But if not, I would highly recommend that you just sell and try to lock in your profits and move on, especially if you're carrying a lot of units. So I hope this video was helpful in an illustrative way, just to give you some cold hard numbers and facts. Again, every building, every area is different, so we would have to come in there and help you analyze and assess what's the best course of action for you if you're holding condos and you're having trouble renting it out right now. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Please click the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.